This is my indie debut, and these were all the versions it was before it got turned into this. So I'm Christina. I'm an adult high fantasy author, and I have written 2 books so far. They're up there. They're so beautiful and perfect. And I'm working on books 3 and 4. One of them is not in the series, but I wanted to talk about these guys. The original manuscripts of my indie debut that followed a fallacy about an empire that's built on lies that is destined to burn. And this, specifically this guy that I just can't get myself to get rid of, is the original manuscript that I printed out, all 468 plus pages with all these post-it notes, all of these edits, just like look at this, look at this. You know, I know my debut wasn't perfect, but AI could never. One of the biggest changes that was made between this edition and the final one here is the fact that my editor made me cut the first 10 chapters. I say made lightly because it was a suggestion that definitely hurt my feelings a lot, as one's editor typically does, but it was something that was so needed and changed so much of this book, that between what this is and what this is are so massively different. This feels like a completely different book to me than what this does. Still kept the original chapter 1. I just edited it a little bit and made it a lot better than what it was. Because I really loved chapter 1 because it was a no-nonsense, straightforward, this is what you're getting chapter. So some of the things I would never ever change is the focus on the politics and the people. I know for some folks, because I did torture myself a little bit and read some reviews, that made it boring and not very actiony, and I totally get that. That's totally valid. Another thing that I love living near a train. Another thing that I did not want to change at all, and I didn't want to lose, was the multiple POVs. And I know that scares a lot of people. I know that scares a lot of people. Hopefully I did it well enough. I wanted to show how war and revolution and just everyday politics affects not just the people in power, but the everyday people. And I wanted to show that difference between the everyday John, Joe, and Mary, who they're a baker, they're a doctor, they're a soldier, and the heirs to the thrones and the throne themselves throughout the country, how that affects their everyday lives and their decisions and their character. Because no matter what you think, politics cares about you, and politics will always care about you. And there's one character's story, Ephraim, who's one of my favorites. Their story is very much, I don't want to get involved because I don't want to be a part of war. I took an oath to not act in violence. I took an oath to not do these things. I am not going to get involved in politics. And they very quickly, specifically in book 2, realize through the help of somebody else, war cares about you. You don't care about war, but war cares about you, and it's going to affect you no matter what. Even if you think you're scot-free, even think you're untouchable, or they're not going to come after you in the night or in the day, they are. And I wanted to talk about that a lot and have that be a huge focus with different identities, different roles in the world for folks. And I really hope that that comes through in the books so far in the series. Something else I didn't want to lose was everyday struggles they face that are related to their choices and related to the story. Because, you know, something my editor and I talked about a lot was like, I understand this character's point personally for them as a person in the story. What's their point to the overall plot? And that was something that really drove me a lot to understand my characters more. And I wanted to show that like these characters are so multidimensional that it's not just how they directly affect the plot and that part of their personality and who they are that is important. It's even those other things that they carry around, like their desire and their need to be loved and cared for and chosen. And for Aura, it's something for her specifically in book 1 is she's never truly gotten to make a choice for herself in her own life. And you see how she makes these choices in book 1 that are not actually her choices, and you see where that truly gets her. And then oh my god, I have so many characters to go in this, but that was something I did not want to change. I wanted to show that these characters are so multidimensional and how everyday emotional flaws, emotional wounds, and choices you make, and just who you are, and these minuscule tiny things truly do affect you. and affect your choices amongst the larger plot of it all, kind of thing. And so I didn't want to lose that, and I know sometimes maybe there's a little bit of a focus extra on that, but I promise it all wraps up together in a nice pretty bow in the end, because I have outlined the entire series. So it's I'm not going to George R. R. Martin, you love you George, but I'm not going to finish the Songs of Fire and Fury. That's my book series, The Song of Ice and Fire. Until I know I'm getting lost book. I'm not finishing it, but I wanted to make sure that there's an end. So if I die or something bad happens, just know people have passwords to my files to get to the endings. But I wanted to make sure that all that stuff tied up into a nice pretty bow at the very end. So there you have it, from manuscript to published piece. Some of my things I change and some things I will never ever change, no matter how far along in the series I get. Book 1 and 2 are indie published, and they're available wherever books are sold online throughout the world. I know UK friends, it's Waterstones has it. You just can't search my name, you have to search the title. I don't get it, don't ask me. I barely understand my country, which sucks. You can also get it on Kindle for like $4. And of course from my website. And please, please, please do not support Jeff Bezos unless that's your only choice, and buy from bookshop.org or directly through your local indie bookstore. That's all. Okay, bye!